Who's going to be here, Connie or Kristen tonight?
Connie. Excuse me, Kristen.
Kristen, okay. That's what I thought I remembered, but I wasn't sure. We're good to go. Okay, and it's 6:30, and so we'll start. All right, let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, let's do a round of attendance. First, I'm Deb Freno from Sumner.
Jesse Wallingford, Sumner. Neil Austin, Buckfield. Nick Tiff, Hartford.
Casey, Buckfield. Aaron Hinkley, Buckfield.
Thank you. We have a special guest tonight, Barbara Chow. Would somebody give Barbara a microphone, please, so she can?
I really don't need a microphone.
We were instructed that all of the guests have to.
Okay, it's
microphone.
the Zoom people. Okay.
It's all right.
Okay, so I don't want it to, can you shut it off and we'll turn it off? Okay. And then you can speak. Put it in front.
So we're ready for you, Barbara.
Oh.
You're first on the agenda.
Oh dear, I'm here. Well, Michelle asked me, I worked with Michelle, I don't know how many years on RSU 10. So I don't know exactly what you're looking for. I dug through the things that I had because it's been since 2016, 15. It's hard to remember the whole process. You have the same lawyer as we did. I was involved in it from every step. I was involved in, I've been on the board for 30 years. So I was with 21. I was when Peru joined us. I was when we withdrew, we regionalized for RSU 10. I was there for the withdrawal, and now I'm here with RSU 56. It's a hard process. It's a lot of details you gotta miss. You can't miss things. It's not easy. It was worth it. It's not like we don't have troubles or we had a couple bad budgets. The first one was hard because back then, and Michelle will remember, RSU 10, I don't know if they do, you guys did. Buckfield had your summer salaries in your current budget. Well, the way we did it was you had summer salaries when you got your July 1st money. So we had to upfront that money. Knowing every details, inventory, very crucial. Getting the community behind you. Ours started because they wanted to change our schools, basically obliterate Darrigal High School, Darrigal Middle School, and we had a big meeting about it, and then over 400 people came to the board meeting. They stopped that, but we felt our buildings were in good shape, and we just wanted some more input into our needs, the curriculum, and things. So, we had rough starts. You don't know what you need for administration. One time we had to have our superintendent be the principal, but we've gone back and we slowly work our way back to things. You just got to follow everything. Don't miss a trick with anything. Because when the first day came, our superintendent's office didn't even have a stapler. So inventory everything, every item, what is yours, the grants, the loans that you have, shared like technology and changing the leases. That's a lot of, but it just takes a lot of work, and that's the first part. And then Michelle said, I looked up what we had for startup, your interim budget, because you don't have any money till July 1st. That's hard. So the voters approved up to 165. I'll have to get back 1,000, how much we actually spent. Because our first thing was getting an interim superintendent. We needed an interim secretary, an interim business manager, an interim special ed, because there's a lot of things that get planned before July 1st. Your Title I, there's a lot of things, and an interim tech director, because they have to get I don't know what you guys use, Power School or whatever, that all has to change. So I don't know if there's anything specific you guys are interested in knowing about.
Can I ask you, how long did you keep your interim superintendent?
By July 1st. Before that, once we had the money, we started interviewing before July 1st.
Okay.
So we had our permanent superintendent.
So only a few months you kept your interim superintendent?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
only a few months. And very they had another job, so it wasn't a lot of limited hours. Keep track.
Right.
So I had given Cameron that transition budget that you have. That would probably be something good that we have printed out. If he could, he was supposed to put it into whatever, the file. Mm-hmm. Because I think that's what you're referring to. So after they vote, just to clarify, we vote November, say it passes, and then a new school board, are they the ones that say, okay, we need an interim this, that, we're gonna need this much money from the voters, and that will get approved by the voters at a special meeting or at the...
What we did was, and I look back I have my minutes. The first thing we had, the first meeting after it was approved, I think in January, we had a special meeting to get our board members. Mm-hmm. And the guy who did our budget was the secretary of our school board election. So he opened the meeting, and the first thing we did was get a chair and a vice chair. And then we did committees and things, and that was basically our beginning. And then I think we had already started interviewing, but I'll check, because I've got my packet because what we interviewed, we didn't know what we would need. So we had a list of what we used to have, and what was then, whoever we interviewed, they could do different things. There's a famous saying in a contract, and other duties as needed for administration and central office. So, once the board did that, then the board, because there was a separate committee for reorganization after the approval, because that wasn't the same as the organizational committee. I met the withdrawal committee. We had an organizational committee.
Are they the ones that decided what you needed to hire? Or was that when the new school board came in?
When the new school board. Okay. The only thing, the new school board did the hiring, yes, and then they hired, because the second meeting I looked, we hired, I went back and looked. We hired the interim superintendent. We hired everybody once we became a board.
Now, like you said, it wasn't easy. And that, we received something last meeting about all the horrible things that happened when you guys left. But did you really feel like it was?
I still think it's worth it. The first budget, it took 2 tries, and we had no carryover, which is very difficult. We always have like $275,000. We carry over right at the beginning. So when you have 0, it's pretty difficult.
So can you stop for 1 second? So I know when I was on the board, there was always like $1 million plus to offset that was carried over. When you leave the district, do you get a portion of that?
Yes, you do. You
But-
get,
But you didn't.
we still didn't have that extra, but you should get, because I don't know RSU 10's budget. I'm assuming they've already budgeted their summer salaries because employees are paid 26 or more payments. So their summer, they work it out. So I don't know what they do.
So back to the summer salaries, because I tried to explain it and I didn't explain it well. In RSU 10, they've always done it, pushed it, not doing it in the current year's budget, like pushed it out forward. And you guys felt that you needed to get it straight, or was it something you had to do? Because I remember the auditor used to say stuff all the time and say, you guys gotta fix the summer salaries. Now, I don't know who's on the budget committee, and are you on the budget? They never mention it anymore, so.
Okay. I would ask, because I did look, it was 600,000, but we are bigger,
Right.
that we needed. Because our superintendent, I got it right? Our superintendent believes in doing a budget real money.
Right.
We don't budget money for main care reimbursement. We only have a little bit money for gate receipts. We don't, but she wants real money. So
Right.
we are not in that position anymore. We're waiting for July 1st to pay, because teachers in their contract, well, not just teachers, most of them get paid through the year. They do it in installments.
Right.
And that's what I mean by summer salaries. And that is a big chunk, if that's.
That's something that, if
Yeah.
they haven't cleared up, then we'll have to.
You would have to see if they budgeted it for it, or, I don't know if Deb did it. I know Dr. Ward didn't do it.
Well, and I know that when I left, we weren't gonna do it because it was, that's another, like,
It's a big
big
chunk.
chunk of money to add on to a budget. We'd say, no, maybe next year. So I don't know if they have.
No, we did it. We don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask, how many years was it really difficult? The first year or two, or the first 5, or?
Because I went back, because I went to my business manager. When was, we did 2017, 18 budget, took twice. And then it was a little lull, but back then it wasn't 55% state covering schools, education.
Right.
And it took us 5 times. But it was more, the first time, I think it was more negativity. Some, not everybody's for it.
Right.
We had, and I think it's that time, we had the old, it was our old elementary and superintendent's office. And we thought, well, the town didn't want it, and people wanted us not to use it. So we got a good deal once, and it's raised, it's gone. And that was a big savings. People, I said, it depends. I think the worst was the first couple of years. And then I don't remember the circumstances, but it was really anti-administration. And that's why our superintendent did that. And we took, like some of the cuts, someone said, we cut a music teacher. Well, our program at the high school had 8 kids. And our middle school program was horrible. So we cut the high school, and now we have a good, solid elementary, middle, and working at the high school. So, I mean, there's things, do we need teachers? Absolutely. But like there's certain priorities, things, the grant for SRO is gone. We know that's vital for us right now. So we're gonna foot the bill. We have another program that was a grant, and it's about job shadowing, and it's really good. It's great for the kids, and we're footing that. And we just added another tech person, because there's a lot of data that needs to be done. That's overwhelming, how much data, and security and things. We prioritize. I do think we've been very productive as far as we have a reading program 2 years ago. We're doing a math program. We have a very strong curriculum committee, which our board, and Michelle can know, at least when I was ever on the board, we had strong committees, and you were involved in the committees. Because I've been in negotiations for over 20 years. The beginning, actually, the thing with the teachers was not that bad, because we worked with the education president. He was really good for us, but because you don't have to worry about that until the contract is up. So that's not.
Did you lose a lot of people that were upset that you pulled away from RSU 10?
No.
Did most people that were in the positions in your school stay?
No, and what I'm very happy about lately, we couldn't get young kids that had graduated out of Farmington. And we have now a lot of young kids that have graduated and locals coming who are qualified, or they have to get it, but been pretty pleased. Our administration's been solid. We hired a new principal 2 years ago, I think, excellent, had the same superintendent, who now we did a plan because eventually she'll retire and only so many people can do 3 jobs. And so we got a principal, we don't have an assistant, we got a full-time, according to your needs, athletic director and co-curricular for 7 through 12. We don't have a lot of assistants to the directors. So it's, we just look to what is the needs, and they're a good A-team, the administrative team who works together, puts the priorities, and so it's a good working board, and we're very different. We are all different walks of life, but it's interesting once you get on the board that they will work together. So, yes.
I'm not sure if you know this off the top of your head, but do you remember if there was a change in contract for teacher salaries before versus after the withdrawal?
Well, you never go backwards. That is a known negotiation unless you're doing the beginning first one. Well, it was a new, the staff, the teachers were new. I've been doing it over 20 years and they're new, so they were a little, but once they feel comfortable, there's not any issues. We did not go backwards. I will say the first year, because our budget was so tight, the admin took a 0%, but when you do a 0, it catches up to you. So they have not, usually most of our budgets have been 3, 2, 3, and the last was 5 or 6 because we had to, we're going to have to anyway by the state, raise up the salaries. So we look at that. We look at the things and we negotiate but no, there was no staff or, the thing with us was we knew we're not the top salary. We'll never be the top salary, but we do give a good health insurance. Ours is pretty high.
Have you stayed with the same health insurance ratios as RSU 10?
I don't know what they still have. We did take years ago 3%. Right now it's 80 still for a family, and that's unusually to find. Admin is 90, and I think single is 92.
I was curious about your, I don't know if you can think back that far, before withdrawal versus after withdrawal? Do you feel like you had a stronger community among the 4 towns? Everybody was part of RSU 10 as opposed to now, because I would assume you have a real strong feel with everybody working together among your 4 towns.
Yes, we're very community oriented. Each town may have their issues with taxes, no doubt. We're all taxed high. But when you threaten to close our schools, that really, you have 300 to 400 people at a board meeting. That wakens you up. The kids, they were supportive. We try to keep being a very close community. I mean, I worked very hard on RSU 10 too. We did, because you're on the board, you got to do the work. But I felt more of a community and more say and not have to. And actually, the goal is, which is very difficult when you're on a board, is to actually talk about education and not have to worry about the budget and not have to worry about personnel or not have to worry about an issue. And that is what we've been doing, and I'm very fortunate about that.
That ties into my 2 of 3 parts to my questioning. Some opponents to this whole process have said that local control, rah, 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 that doesn't really amount to much. Once you actually get into the weeds, you don't actually have that much freedom to make decisions. So I'd be curious what somebody who's been through it can say to that.
Well, I was never a quiet board member. Even whatever board I was on, I all spoke my mind. You have control over your budget. It's not the administration's budget, it's the board's budget to present. And the way they present it can be different. And, like I've been on with different, you would put, oh, let's add everything and then what we need. And we finally said as a board, I want to see what we have. Then you put to us what you would like in a priority list. No wish list. I'm sick of the paper being ran off. We used to get 4 copies or more of a budget, because the real world comes when you get how much you're getting from the state, how much is your insurance, and then you can actually really work with what you got.
The administration has to prepare.
And they do an excellent job. I will say I've got a really good business manager, Mary Daly, who came with us, but she was with 21 too. And to have the administration, and I always say I've been through at least 5 or 6, 7 superintendents, and this one, she knows how to present and know how to, so we know we're not looking and we don't always agree, and but it is a process, and you have they give you, because they know what you need to cut or what you need, but that doesn't mean you always agree with them. I mean, they know what is needed and what can be do other places, because it's not good times in any school district right now for a budget. So.
Yep. The last part of my question, I guess, is being a part of RSU 10, the observation is that some decisions will be made when you're part of this larger group that will impact your community, but decisions are being made about staff down here when nobody really, as from the broader perspective, somebody's tenure and seniority and experience and overall impact can prospectively be overlooked. The cuts that were just made in this community sound to me, from what I've heard, like they're eliminating somebody who's been in this community for over 30 years. And I don't know how all that goes down because I'm not on the school board. But I don't know. I'm curious how your group deals with decisions like that in consideration as somebody who's instrumental in some of the day-to-day operations and the massive impact they have on our kids?
It's your contract. It's the RIF, the reduction in force. It legally cannot be just seniority, but it also, I don't know if they still have impact areas of, if they separated them, but it always looks at who's qualified, what's your education. If you don't have the degree, that makes a difference.
Yep.
It is, but they have to be qualified for them to bump you out or to cut.
Yeah, that's contract driven.
Yep.
Decisions like that are definitely contract driven. There's no, you wouldn't survive trying to get someone out that didn't follow that list, correct?
Yeah.
And it's listed out in the contract. Every
Because
single one.
we lost when we joined, when they riffed.
Mhm.
During RSU 10, we lost, Derigo lost one of its best teachers, and I think he's still at Buckfield, isn't he? He's a resident of,
Is it the history teacher?
Yes.
I think he is, yep.
yeah, Nolet. We were very sad we lost him, but that would be transferred because when you withdraw, usually they'll try to work some deals or agreements, but usually who is there stays where they are.
Mhm.
So a teacher could request a transfer?
Teacher can request, doesn't mean they get it.
Right.
They don't automatically get it, but they can request a transfer. Yeah, that's,
They move around a lot. Like if there's job postings and they're up and they want, like say you have a third grade teacher and she wants, and then they post a second grade position in another school, they'll apply and usually they'll get their request if it's a need.
Uh-huh.
So. But a lot of this is like I said, it's contract driven and it's not like you can't pick and choose who you want to go.
no. It looks good, people.
So I think one of the questions that Nick had asked about, do you feel like you have more control over your, what's, say RSU 10, when we're all RSU 10, yes, we're always working to see, but as a smaller unit, the ability to see the needs in that smaller area than when we were RSU 10.
Yes, because we took pride, and we still do pride in our buildings. We, like, for example, with COVID, during COVID, we spent our money on a boiler, a pony boiler for the high school, so the big one can shut down during the summer to save oil. We fixed the air in the buildings. We really focused on things that we would never be able to do. Because, and I do feel bad because I know with your region, when we were there, we had more, you guys, we kind of not voted together, but we mostly did. But you had more say.
Yeah.
And
It was like a good go-between.
Yes.
Have you guys as part, and,
and I did have people I worked with from RSU 10, excellent. Betty Barrett, Peter's still there. He took a while to get used to, but he worked together. But I feel we have more control over our needs. And when we had COVID, we were able to save money and we made a bus garage because we were paying for a lease that that building's not going to be fixed. So we try to look and see what are our needs and what do we need to go for that.
I think it's harder to see when you have that big group. I mean, a little bit everywhere instead of focusing. And you guys, I think when it comes to the education, you have a better view of what's needed.
We really didn't have much control over the curriculum in RSU 10.
No, absolutely.
No, because our region, well, I don't care if it's true, our region fought what they wanted to do, and they said, well, we're waiting on Derigo, and I said, okay, George was one of them. I said, you work on your test scores, and we'll work on what we need, because we did not want to do that, and we didn't, and thank God, Mr. Craig King left us a present with a policy to follow the main learning results and got rid of some of the stuff, but we had very little say on the curriculum at all.
Yes, I think when we joined, we didn't even have a curriculum committee. And then we had one, and it was actually a board committee.
Yep.
And then after you guys left, it changed where it was just someone coming in and presenting. And it was very minimal, and it went down to like once every couple of months, and there was really no involvement for school board, like, having a say on it. It was just like, this is what we're doing. And it was almost like a bother that they had to explain it to us.
No, by law, the curriculum, the board approves the curriculum, a new curriculum. So our process is, it goes, Jason Long is our curriculum coordinator, only like 25%. He does a lot of the work in the summer, and he presents and says, this is what they're working on and need. And the board members look over the books, and they talk about it. And then they bring it to the board, their recommendation, and the board approves it. So it's not just rubber stamped, because
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for coming.
And any questions, just have Michelle email me.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for being willing to come. So next on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes from last time. The only correction that I saw that needed to be made was the time that we adjourned, and did you correct that part? You did, okay. So then we need someone to make a...
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the April 30th meeting?
Yes, yes.
I second.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, attached to our agenda is the RSU Withdrawal Committee draft that we were going to review with Kristen. Did everybody get a chance to review it?
Yes.
Thank you. I did have a couple of questions. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks. So do you want to jump into questions or?
Sure, that would be fine.
Okay.
My first question is on page 2. Subject to approval of withdrawal from RSU 10 by each of the withdrawing municipalities by referendum vote that meets the requirements of 20-A MRS subsection or 1466 9. My question is, does that referendum vote have to be in November, or could it be a special election?
It could be a special election.
Okay, thank you. And we have to have a public hearing 10 days before.
That's exactly right.
Okay, thank you. Uh,
I have a question, and I kind of wasn't listening to the part that you were first asking, so I'm sorry if this is redundant. But when we vote in November, we're voting for the withdrawal agreement as well as the reorganization plan, correct?
Yes, I believe that is the intention. We could also break it out so there's a special election on the reorganization plan a couple of months later or a month later if you wanted.
Okay. I was noticing that you wrote reorganization plan twice at the top of page 2.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
just trying to understand a little bit if that it was a separate election from.
No, that is just my drafting error. If the withdrawing municipalities approve the withdrawal agreements and reorganization plan. So in theory, you could decide we need some more time with the reorganization plan. We're going to do the withdrawal agreements on the November general election, and then a month later do a special election for the reorganization plan. That's something that could happen if one of those failed and you wanted to re-present it later, you still could do that. But if it takes until after January 1st, then it would, make all of these deadlines advanced by a year, basically.
Are these referendum questions separate? Are you approving a withdrawal agreement as a question number 1, and then question number 2, you're approving the reorganization plan, or the voters are approving this?
You are. So I guess there is a world where one fails and one passes.
And that was my question. What happens then?
So let's say the reorganization plan fails for some reason, people don't like the cost sharing or the structure, then you would have the ability to go back to the drawing board on that and put it for a later election after January 1st. And that would be the occasion then where it all takes effect in 2028 instead of 27.
Okay, so if the voters approve the withdrawal agreement, but they did not approve of the reorganization plan, then we as a committee would need to go back to the drawing board to try and rework a reorganization plan?
Either that or, work on voter education and turnout and all the other things to get your original plan through.
Legally, can we have it all be one referendum question or no?
I don't think so. There's nothing expressly forbidding it, and I guess we could get DOE's opinion on this, but they're two separate statutory processes. And because they come from different parts of the law, I think the intention is that they're presented separately.
Okay.
And with that referendum question, is there a part 3 after Barb Chow was just talking with us? She talked about raising some money. Are we asking the voters for a set amount of money as well in November, or is it just to approve of this budget proposed?
Planning, is that what she was saying? Like for an interim superintendent to work on the budget and that sort of thing?
yes.
That would be a great thing to do.
Thank you.
I think, did she say that they did that for Dirigo?
Yeah, they had a transition budget, which
Yeah.
I have somewhere that she had given me.
Yeah, that does sound familiar to me.
But I can't, was she saying that, I didn't ask her when that was approved, though.
Well, that's what I was wondering. She was talking about some of the pitfalls that they had run into financially. So I'm curious what recommendations you can make that would help us not run into what they did. I was not following that
I
completely.
think some of it was just unexpected because I think that your ED 279 did not come out as expected. So that first year was like, oh, what do we do now? But this transition piece, what I thought she said was that the townspeople had voted like 165,000 for them for startup cost to get that new budget and everything ready, because there were some things that they needed started before the July 1st, after, before the voters voted for that first budget to start the new year.
Yeah, and I wish I had been around more with them during that transition period, but I wasn't. Sort of once these passed, that was the end of my role. So I think it's great that you're talking to some of them, and hopefully memories don't fail people, because it has been a while now.
Well, I will try to find out when they voted this in.
Is that the kind of thing that Connie would be a resource on, helping guide us through that sort of phase of this process, do you think?
I think so.
Okay.
So when Barb had mentioned they had a separate reorganization committee, that's not what we're doing here. We're going to keep all of us together for the reorganization piece of it. Was it separate back then, if you remember, Kristen?
It's a separate committee, but they had all the same people. So by law, it has to be, a reorganization planning committee, and that's going to be the name of it, but the same people would shift into that role.
And do we need to go through the same process we did when the appointment happened for all the withdrawal committee members?
Yes.
That is interesting. Thank you.
Where the hell is that?
Yeah, it is kind of silly, but the laws, excuse me, the laws aren't really designed for withdrawal and reorganization all happening at the same time. So we kind of cobbled together two laws, two different committees that are the same people, hopefully. If the select boards really want to mess with you, they could, in theory, appoint different people.
So just because I am trying to understand, when would that take place? Like late summer, midsummer, or?
November after the election.
So that happens, okay, because I thought we.
No?
Yeah, we're gonna, as soon as we submit and receive approval back on the withdrawal agreements, then it shifts into reorganization planning committee time.
Oh, okay,
So
great.
we'll need those appointments made in July.
That's what I figured, okay.
Yep.
Because we need that ready for the vote in November as well, so we can propose it.
Exactly. Yep.
And would the constitution of that committee, that newer committee, is that based upon the same criteria as this committee? Like one select board person, one school board person, et cetera, et cetera?
Oh, let me check the statute. I do not remember if it says.
The statute's very clear about this particular committee.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I didn't notice it. Stuck out.
Right. It's a little odd, actually. It comes from the commissioner. So if I recall, and I can go back and look at my Dirigo stuff, once we submit the notice of intent to form, the commissioner responds with a letter that says, you're good to go. Appoint a reorganization planning committee, and it can be comprised of however many members, and it just must include representation from each of the towns. So I believe it's relatively a free-for-all on how we fill that committee, and they give us just very basic guidelines like that.
Nobody's getting the summer off.
I don't really like the sound of a free-for-all either, so.
Free-for-all in that the DOE is not telling you what to do, but the obvious thing to do is to just shift, your membership onto that committee. Ask the select people to bless it in each case.
But either way, if it comes down to the select board of each town doing the final approval of who's on that.
Yes,
committee.
it does.
Okay.
So just to take that one step farther, would the select board, in your vision, would they be able to design it in a way that they want to see it, or like? I'm just curious what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in theory they could. I think given how much time you've invested in the concept of reorganization already and in the budget, all of these things, it would be not the best idea to shake that up.
I
You
guess
could
that's what-
add people potentially if they wanted, but I certainly wouldn't take people away unless any of you is just done serving.
No, so if it doesn't specify how we do it, then we could just dictate that we want to do it the same way that it's been done with the 4 different persons, but maybe add 1 person if we felt like it. I follow you.
I mean, and one way we could sort of control that is when we send the notice of intent, we could say to the commissioner that the intent is that the reorganization committee will be comprised of the same members that have served on the withdrawal committee.
Perfect.
Yes, that sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I actually have the statute in my hand right now, unless there's some additional one someplace. But 20A 1466, then there's 2 parts. I can look at number 7 under article. I think it's D, and then 7 article. The question getting voted on will say, do you favor the withdrawal of our 3 towns from the RSU 10, subject to the terms and conditions of the withdrawal agreement dated, the date. It's just a yes/no question, but the withdrawal agreement by statute that I read earlier and we talked about last time, which was under section A, talks about how there is a budget, anticipated budget in that. That was actually section A, then 13 of that. So it looks like it's just 1 question. And then as I go further on in this statute to number 20, it says reorganization, semicolon, penalties, but it looks like it was redacted. Whatever was there is no longer there. I don't see anything in what I have about the reorganization. Is there some place that you know of that you can point us to in the statute about the reorganization?
Yep, that's 20A, section 1461.
Does that tell us about a different question? Or I guess we could probably go there later.
Yep, it does. Do you favor approving the school administrative reorganization plan prepared by the Town of Buckfield Reorganization Planning Committee to reorganize the 3 schools into a regional school unit with an effective date of? So that's why I say it has to be separate from the withdrawal, since we have different language coming from each of those 2 statutes. But yeah, check out that 1461, because that has the language about the reorganization planning committee and how we do the notice of intent, which I have up on my screen.
You can share that if you'd like, yeah.
Yep. Oops. This is what the notice of intent looked like for Dirigo. So each of the towns had appointed or is in the process of appointing 3 to 4 people to serve on a reorganization planning committee. So in that case, we left it open, at least in theory, but it did end up being the same people, if I recall, who shifted into those roles.
Thank you.
Yep.
So is it question 1 and question 2, one about the agreement, one about the reorganization? I guess what I'm just trying to figure out is I've been under the impression that we're going to be proving out a financial projection that we're going to be providing to the communities. Because the big magic question is what's this going to cost us? And how do we answer that in a referendum question? Or does that, can you explain that out, I guess?
Yeah. And another fun thing to share here, pertinent to this conversation, is this is the ballot that they used in Dirigo, showing the 2 questions. So they must not have put that transition budget on that warrant. And I'm trying to remember how and when they put that forward. It must have been when they when they elected the new school board members, perhaps.
I think so.
So go ahead.
What did you just say, Kristen?
That was a January special meeting, Barb had said.
There you go. Which was around the time they had the school board election, but I don't know if they did that as, referendum election to, our ballot election to elect the school board members and then town meetings to do the appropriation. I can certainly try to figure that out. So to answer Nick's question, if I heard it right, the draft budget or proposed budget for informational purposes, number one, that's now been added to our draft agreement as an exhibit. Not filling anything in yet, not including that in there when we send it over to the to RSU 10, but there will be something that goes in that withdrawal agreement, and it can be adopted. I mean, can be amended from time to time as we move forward to make it as accurate as possible. So the idea should be that the numbers are starting to get fleshed out as of May and June when we're getting ready to submit to the commissioner next month. I'm hoping that we have, a budget that we can put in there. Like I said, that's going to get, worked on and made more precise over the summer for the purpose of turning it out in meetings in August and September. And the meetings and the hearings that we're going to have in that run up to the election, you obviously have to be able to talk about the numbers. So you have the budget pretty well in hand by September so that when it goes to the polls in November, you've had a chance to talk through it with people. And everyone understands you're not bound by this particular budget. This is for informational purposes, best you can do with the information you have at the time. And when that, new school board comes in, the budget might end up looking very different.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that.
Can the new school board change the administrative structure that the reorganization committee comes up with?
Definitely not. So if you are formed as an RSU with a board that is, addressed with its membership and its voting weight in this reorganization plan, which you will be, none of that can be changed except for at a referendum with a amended reorganization plan that has been approved by the commissioner's office. So the new school board will have to work with the structure that you have in the reorganization plan and can only really change administration, budgets, and staffing.
So let me make sure I'm asking it the right way, because Michelle was kind of giving me a look over there. Is that what you mean? And so if we as the reorganization committee, once we get reappointed for that purpose, come up with what we want the central office to look like, what we are thinking would work best for superintendent position and all those different things, and we get that part wrong, you're saying that a reorganization plan would need to be sent again to the commissioner, the new school board that would be elected after, if everything passes, the new school board is elected and they realize this isn't really working, we need to tweak it a little bit. Say we had a part-time superintendent as a reorganization committee, but we decide we need a full-time superintendent. That decision, how would that new board go about doing that?
Okay, when I say that the new board can't change anything that's in the reorganization plan, I mean the reorganization plan document that talks about number of board members, voting weight, the fact that it is a regional school unit as opposed to an AOS, that kind of really basic structural stuff, that can't be changed. All of your assumptions that you're making when you prepare this draft budget, in terms of, is it going to be a principal superintendent, one superintendent, are you hoping to have like a education service center or shared services? All these assumptions that you're making can 100% be changed by the school board. Staffing, buildings, all of that kind of stuff. But practically speaking, in that first year, there's so little time that, you know, a new board coming in is going to really rely on the work that you've done and may not have the time to overhaul it in that transition period in the run up to the first school year.
We get it right.
We're going to do our best to get it right. With all the information that we have,
Yeah.
we're going to make the best decision that we can.
Kristen, I do have a question on page 3, subsection D, third paragraph. You have put in there where it says cost charged by Region 9. Did you mean to put Region 11?
Region 11, yes.
Okay.
And the fact that there are two tech regions serving the same RSU is, I think, a little bit unusual. It's not something I've dealt with. So currently, is there just a bill that Region 11 sends to RSU 10, which is paid? Is it allocated towards these towns only? How does that work?
I think so. I think that's how that's done.
Somebody has a question. I can't see who it is.
Judy.
Judy, do you have an answer to that question?
Yes, we own a part of our RSU of a Region 11, something like 10%. We paid a bond when we put it in, so we are part of it. When we get the warrant that we have to, the budget warrant from RSU 10, there will be a separate section in there for us to pay the Region 11
Yes.
budget. That is.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
I do have a question on page 6, unless somebody has questions before then.
Nice. Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, I don't want to rush anybody, but under section 8, the need to create new supervisory units, there is wording there that says, this agreement shall not prevent the boards of RSU 10 and the new RSU from entering a separate agreement to share superintendent and/or central office services in 2027, 28, or beyond. Is that saying that we could end up sharing superintendents or other services with RSU 10 if we so chose?
The new school board so chose, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Alrighty. And then the next section down in yellow, I believe you meant to say Mount Valley High School, not Mount Valley Community School, for a roof repair in 2017.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. It's listed in the budget as MVCS.
Well, that's the school that just got done being built. So I do remember there was a massive roof issue of the high school. So
So this one you think is high?
the number 2, that it should read Mount Valley High School.
Okay, great.
And then as well, the next section down, 3, the EEI lease financing authorized in 2025 for that amount of 2.2 million. You're going to want to make sure that that gets fleshed out to make sure that we in this region are only paying the bill for things that were done to either Buckfield High School or Hartford Sumner.
And this is a specific one I wanted to talk to the group about. So I don't know how this 2.266 million broke down across the various schools. The way this is written right now, this would have the withdrawing municipalities paying for their share of the 2.267 million based on the percentage of additional local funds. Versus the other way we could write it is the withdrawing communities are responsible to the extent this debt relates to schools in their communities.
I like
That would
that.
probably be the better option.
Yeah,
Which-
that's not,
The
Which
second
makes sense, but I don't know if financially that is cheaper or more expensive. So if, for instance, the 2.67 was more loaded towards your towns than the other RSU towns proportionately, it would make sense to pay it based on additional local funds. If
I think-
it's more RSU 10, you obviously would want to pay proportionate to, or I mean, related to the schools that you took.
How much, so you guys obviously, by saying that, think that not a lot of that amount of money borrowed was used down here.
I know that the WFRP roof repair was wrapped up into that somehow. Again, it needs to be fleshed out. There was skylight, there might have been siding at Hartford Sumner. I cannot remember all the things. I feel like there was windows. Maybe
Wouldn't
hardly-
Leah have that as broken down?
So whoever is getting into the weeds on this needs to get into the weeds on this. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm just figuring that Kristen is taking this part forward now and doing that part. I mean, I can go back and look through my June 2025 meeting minutes, but I don't remember hearing a whole ton of information. I asked a lot of questions. Erin, do you remember anything in that?
I remember a lot of it kind of got spurred sporadically. We weren't expecting some of that conversation to happen. So we did have a lot of questions, but not a lot of answers. But I'm hesitant to say that that 2.2 is a large part of this region. I don't think it is, but I'd like to flesh that out to make sure.
I mean, would the new lighting system, would that fall under that category?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I
Okay.
believe they did use some for that.
Where was the new lighting other than the gym?
They did new lighting throughout this.
The entire
Oh,
school.
really?
But
Okay.
usually when they do that, they usually have a grant because the state of Maine will pay a portion for their
That might be a separate thing.
efficiency stuff, so they may have to pay some of it out of that loan.
I definitely think we need to flesh that out more. I don't want us to be tasked with more than what was actually part of this region.
thank you.
All right, so I will ask, I already emailed Deb to confirm principal amounts. Like, I cannot anywhere find this principal amount of that SRRF note. So she's filling in that detail, and then I can get additional detail. What I will do, because I do want to send this over and get them started on it, I think probably the best thing to do is say, I'm just going to put a comment in there that says the withdrawal committee is not yet agreeing to a method of apportioning this debt and needs to see the EEI budget to better understand to which schools the funds were applied.
Thank you.
Good.
I added in some language in each of these areas where we are just agreeing that any leases or lease purchase agreements that come to us by virtue of the property coming to us, that there is an obligation on the part of RSU 10 to work in good faith to assist with the assignment of any agreements. I'd rather have the agreements themselves be assigned to the new RSU rather than worrying about RSU 10 receiving, accounting for, and turning over bills to the new RSU. So the idea is that things are assigned where they can be. If they can't be, then they are apportioned out the way we already have this language in there based on the additional local funds. Or if it's for property that is in our municipalities and we have full responsibility for it, then they send us the bill. But I want to make sure there's no hangups and delays in getting things retitled, getting assignments done, that sort of thing. So in the past, we didn't have that expressly put in there, and I don't think there are any real problems, but in theory, there could be.
Yep. Okay, let's keep going.
Jumping to page.
And sorry, the Mountain Valley Community School construction bond, from what I am seeing, only 3.25 million has been issued based on the debt service that is being paid in this current year. So I could be wrong on that, but based on the budget documents, which I reviewed in detail, it seems like only the 3.25 has been issued. So this is all subject to change if I'm making wrong assumptions, but I will let the RSU tell us if I am.
I have that it's 7,7467136.57. I have that as the new school. Do you want me to read those numbers again?
Yes, let's, I'm looking at have they not have their budget meeting yet? Final budget meeting?
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, we have our annual budget meeting on May 27th, and then it goes to the voters, but the board has approved it to this point. So it would be a 7 million.
Yep, you're exactly right. Now that I look at this year's draft budget, 7.467.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
How does that work? Is that the payment amount that we have to put on the books that they're gonna send us from the state?
Yes.
Okay. Just like the buses?
Yeah, just like the buses.
So on page 9, if there's nothing
No,
else.
I'm sorry. That seems to be the debt service payment, but that's the total of the two issuances. So there was a 3.234 amount of interest and then a 4.233 amount of principal. So I actually think the principal amount being what we're putting here should be 4 million. 233,322.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so then page 9, at the very top paragraph, you're going to want to remove the town of Byron.
Did I miss Byron having withdrawn separately?
Byron had withdrawn on their own separately, I believe, yes, at a different time.
Different time.
Yeah, a few years back, I believe. I had a question as the next section A is reading about RSU 10. Let me see if I can read it here. The new RSU shall have no responsibility for any portion of the term of the superintendent contract or any other individual contracts for staff or administration that extend beyond the effective date, and no such contract shall otherwise be binding on RSU 10 unless the RSU board vote authorizing it includes votes in the affirmative from a majority of the weighted votes of directors representing the remaining municipalities. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this, and you might have explained it last time, but I need to hear things more than once sometimes, but we would not be part of that vote in the withdrawing board members on that. I just want to make sure that we are in the minority on the board. If all 4 board members from our region vote for something, or say we vote against something, the Mountain Valley Region Board holds the majority. So the way that this is reading is saying authorizing, it includes votes in the affirmative from a majority of the weighted votes of directors representing the remaining municipalities. So I just want to make sure that our interests are represented. If we should vote against something and the remaining people up there vote for it, does this wording here put us in a bind? Did I communicate
No,
myself?
if you vote, if your members either recuse themselves from the vote on, let's say, a superintendent contract that's going to go beyond the effective date, then the withdrawing towns are not bound by it. If they participate in the vote but vote against it, then the withdrawing towns are not bound by it. If they participate and vote in favor of it by, their weighted vote total, then the withdrawing towns would be bound by that contract and obligations under it extending beyond the effective date. I think this is in there. I'm trying to remember the genesis of this. It's from decades back, but I think the idea was we might be in a bind where we simply cannot get a superintendent unless we commit to a 3-year contract and, pay more money next year. And somehow that would require participation of the full board. The idea being like, to get through the last year, it's worth participating in and approving the contract. But I can't see a situation realistically where this would happen.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm on the same page at the bottom. Contingent liabilities under future claims. This is a question I had been waiting to ask, but haven't quite posed it yet of our superintendent. But there was a recent due process hearing. And are we going to be, I don't know what the outcome of that was, but if there are financial obligations with that, we as a withdrawing town, municipalities, we would be needing to pay in some of that if that was required. I mean, I haven't seen this anywhere, so I would imagine we would see it if it was a thing. But do you have any insight on if there is any financial obligation from a recent due process hearing?
I don't know anything about that. If there was a recent due process hearing, I mean, there wouldn't be any financial that would arise from that until, that person filed at the Human Rights Commission and a case was settled, or there was litigation and the case was settled, or there was a judgment. I mean, all of that would be a year or two out at minimum from said due process hearing. So I don't know. But if in theory there was, let's say, an employment discrimination claim that arose in this school year, and 3 years down the road, without any of you now at the settlement table, RSU 10 and its insurer and its attorneys settle that claim for $3 million, you would get a portion of that bill because you were members of the RSU when it happened. So the unfortunate thing about that is, you don't have a seat at the table in how that's settled if it's settled after the effective date, but you would be obligated to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
On page 12 at the bottom, part B, you're just going to want to change SAD 21 to SAD 39. And I also had a question about, I've heard talk about the Hartford Sumner Elementary School kitchen equipment. When we consolidated, that equipment went up to the Mountain Valley region. Reportedly, I don't know, I'm just hearing this. That equipment, if it did go there, would need to come back to our region, correct?
So this is equipment that's sort of on loan from one to the other?
This is equipment that had been in the kitchen of our elementary school, and then when we consolidated, Mountain Valley reportedly came and grabbed that equipment and moved it up to their facility.
If you want that equipment back, I think we need to specify that. And so I'm really glad you raised that issue.
So it's not clear to me right now. I had thought that all the meals were made in the Mountain Valley region and brought down here to the Nizinskit region. I could be wrong. Maybe meals are made at the Buckfield Junior Senior High School and then brought over. So we don't have as big of a nutrition piece to sort out then, or I was worried about the nutrition piece because I remembered hearing that all the meals are made up in the Mountain Valley region and brought down here, but I could have misheard. But at Hartford Sumner Elementary, meals are brought in for sure. But they're brought
in from the high school, but I'm not.
from the high school?
certain. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So you think they're brought in from Buckfield?
Yes, that's what the rest of the committee is saying.
But do you think that's likely to continue, or do you think you would want to open a kitchen back up?
I think that the option should be, should be there if we need it, but is there any way to put language in this withdrawal agreement that states that any equipment of any kind that was taken from SAD 39 during the constitution of RSU 10 is due back to us no matter what that equipment is?
That's the paragraph that I'm referencing.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
but as written, this wouldn't cover that. As written, if that equipment was taken from SAD 39, well, hold on. Any and all personal property transferred by SAD 39 to the RSU and currently in use. I guess there's no qualifier on that it's currently in use in the withdrawing municipalities.
I mean, couldn't we change the language rather than saying currently in use that they still have possession of?
That was my theory.
Right? Because they could say that they stopped using it last year, but it's someplace in a shed someplace or someplace in a storage container. And if it's, if it was ours from the get-go and it's something that we want back, we should have all the rights to get it back.
Does anybody know what was taken?
All I've heard is that the kitchen had been recently redone at Hartford Sumner, and it was great stuff. And then reportedly, Mountain Valley region took it up to their big kitchen, I think in the Mountain Valley High School. But again, that's all I've heard, and I don't know. So.
Right.
Deb. Okay.
Okay.
I think I might just specify that the kitchen equipment is valuable and it also might be integrated, into the new, into the current kitchen in such a way that it's just kind of easy to fudge. So I think we should be specific if we want to make sure that equipment is sent back.
Okay.
Hopefully somebody can verify that though, what it was.
I don't know.
It almost seems like someone, maybe different people from this committee should go to the different departments of the schools, one for cafeteria, one for transportation, one for whatever, and say, hey, what do we have that we no longer have that we should get back?
Well, isn't it, I would be concerned because nobody actually works in the kitchen that doesn't get used anymore. So who's going to advocate for the fact that that's no longer here? I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's the thing, because it's been like almost, 20 years?
Yeah, 18.
18 years? I remember hearing that, but I don't know what was taken.
Yeah.
How good is it 20 years later?
Exactly.
I know, it's almost, I wonder if we might want to negotiate a financial offset
Yes.
instead of trying to make them tear it apart.
Right. That way we're not getting something that's ready for the scrap heap anyway.
Right. Maybe they
Right.
just need to maybe they just need to restock the kitchen at Hartford Sumner Elementary and
Right.
make it a working kitchen again.
I think that makes the most sense.
Right. Or like what Kristen said, come up with a financial thing. That way the new school board can decide exactly where that money needs to go to do the nutrition piece or whatever piece
Right,
we're talking
right.
about at that time.
It's feasible for us to have the kitchen I mean,
Right.
back open again as far as staffing and whatever.
Right.
So if we were to do something like what you're talking about, I think the language would be something like this. What high school was it put into?
Mount Valley High School is my understanding.
I was gonna say Mountain Valley region. It's who knows.
Right.
I don't know. We'll have to ask. I guess. I think I know somebody who worked there. Yeah.
I do. I mean, I do as well, actually.
Okay.
But I guess at first I didn't realize we were talking that far back.
We are. 2008 was when, so 2009 was our first school
Right.
year at RSU 10.
Whether they removed that stuff right immediately.
Well, I guess that's what I was curious about, because it said it was new.
Right.
It was new then?
It was new then.
But, I mean, we didn't start doing the transporting of having hubs for transporting meals to the different schools until years
COVID.
later.
COVID, yeah. Okay.
So is there a preference then between option one of making sure that any kitchen equipment that was taken from Hartford Sumner is put back, or option two would be this new language that requires the RSU to re-equip the kitchen at Hartford Sumner?
I like number 2.
Yeah.
I'd say 2.
Yeah, because they could have
What do
took the
you say?
equipment and it could have broke down.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to get something that's no
Well,
good.
yeah, we want to get something that works.
What do you say, Liz? What do you say?
Yeah, I think the second option.
Becky? Jesse? Okay, everybody that's here says option 2.
All right.
Thank you, Kristen.
Can you elaborate a little bit on C, school buses and vehicles, and what the mutual agreement of the boards is really about?
Recognizing that there could be a fair amount of time between when the withdrawal agreement is finalized and voted on and the effective date. I mean, in theory, if as I was talking about, one of the approvals fails and is stretched out into the following year, it could go all the way to 2028. So there might be a fair amount that changes with buses and vehicles by that time. Things get broken down, replaced, moved around. And the idea is that the boards are to make sure they are in agreement about what buses and everything are updated and going where.
Okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Thank you.
The central office, the next section, is there anything in there that we really had contributed? I mean, we've contributed to it all through our tax money, but I guess I'm just wondering if there is anything in there that we should be negotiating. What does everybody think about that? Just leave it alone?
Well, I mean, I know that any infrastructure that's currently at the 2 schools need to stay at the 2 schools. Right? I mean, I know that you're kind of talking about central office, but some of that stuff is kind of cross-connected because if you have networks, you have different licensing and software licensing, security licensing, all that stuff is all integrated. So we kind of need to figure out, how we're going to go about taking our piece of that back, and are we going to follow what they're doing as far as that technology is concerned, as far as licensing and the software and all that stuff, or do we go a different route?
I mean, none of that stuff is going to be transferable, so we'll have to buy our own.
Technically,
Because the
well,
software-
as far as the license for the software, yes, but the question is we also need to talk about at some point, like when we do the reorganization piece of it, do we stick with the same software because everybody's used to it? Like do we stick with PowerSchool because there's other options, right? Also, right now, RSU 10 utilizes their security and their firewall. They outsource that to a online service. So it's not as easy for us to separate. We actually have to get someone in there that knows what they're doing to actually either have physical hardware and not do the online piece of it, or to have a separate contract for the online to make sure that all the data is secure and safe and backed up.
But this wording keeps it there.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
But this wording keeps their central office stuff over there.
Right.
And as far as that goes, I mean, unless Deb has, or anyone that comes down here a couple days a week has a little office,
Right.
if they have a computer too, I think that should stay down here. But, I mean, I don't think that we are.
Okay.
I mean, could we ask for a desk and a chair and
Stapler.
a computer and a stapler, filing cabinets?
Yeah, I mean, I did send Brian Courier a email for all the technology that we have in our schools and all the equipment that's pertaining to technology. He still has not really sent anything back yet, so we're still waiting for a supposedly inventory list of what's here.
Okay, thank you.
So, going back up to C where it says school buses and vehicles, shouldn't there be some kind of language to make sure that between, I guess now, and the time that we actually withdraw and take possession of those vehicles, that it's RSU's 10 responsibility to keep them in an orderly, maintained thing? I just don't want it to slip through that if, for example, a bus needs a new transmission and they say, oh, we just won't worry about it, and then let us worry about it. I mean.
Well, I hope they would do something. They might. It is a good point. Very
You know.
Thank you, Neil. That was a good point. I can't read that from here, so.
I mean, I understand that this equipment is going to be used, but it's the same thing as if you go to a car dealer and you buy a used car, you have 30 days roughly of something major happening.
Yeah, but we do expect it to be in good working condition and that the regular maintenance was performed.
Right, and all the records are up to
Yeah.
date and everything is done. We just want to make sure that,
I agree with you. I think it's a great idea.
So.
Can you read to me what Kristen wrote? Because I can't see it from here.
Oh, let's just wait till she's done, so I don't have to keep rereading.
No, that's fine. When she's finished.
Or she
I'm
can read
good.
it.
I'll read it. RSU 10 shall keep all vehicles to be transferred to the new RSU in good working condition and perform all regular maintenance and record keeping at its own expense through the effective date, and shall work in good faith to assist in the retitling of vehicles.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I like it.
Me too.
And just to throw this out there, as I should have done about an hour ago, if there's anything that is uncomfortable to talk about publicly, in the negotiation of this and the crafting of this agreement, we can certainly do an executive session at a point. Just let me know if you'd like to talk more freely. The question about the central office, for instance, there's things that could be bargained for there. An offset to address the fact that you'll have to stand up your own office. I can talk to you about whether I think that's something that's likely to be agreed to or not. But it's a blessing and a curse that you have sort of a template here that the other withdrawing communities agreed to.
Sure. Do you have a copy of our agenda for tonight, the revised agenda?
Is that to me?
Yeah, that was to you.
I do. I'm not sure that I've looked at it other than to click on the link.
Okay. All right.
What do you ask?
Do you think that would be a
Number 11.
possibility to get sort of a payout to start our
Oh,
central
oh.
office by like negotiating that as a point? Oh, is that what?
What
you
I'm
hinting-
getting at, what I'm getting at is I think because there's a template of this having been agreed to in this format before, that's going to be the assumption, that there is no set off, there's no transfer of equipment from the central office, but you do have to stand up a brand new central office. And
Right.
you've been contributing to things that are in the central office that will be left with the RSU. I think it is fair to ask for it for sure. It's a little bit difficult to put a number on.
Okay, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Well, and that's, now that I think back, when Dixfield pulled out, we had to pay for everybody, for things to be moved to the other school and a new central office to be, yes, we definitely have an investment in that area.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Connie has, I think she gave a cost for remodeling the central office, but I don't know if she benchmarked a cost for all the equipment and everything.
I think she put the 25,000, and I think that was just for remodeling, but I don't
Right.
think,
Yes.
I think the computer and the other stuff was in one of her proposed budgets.
Yes.
So we'd have to add like those two together and kind of come up with a figure.
The other way
Right.
to slice it would be to try to inventory what's in the RSU 10 current office and then look at your additional local funds, cumulative amount or whatever it is, and use that percentage to say that's the value that we want to offset.
Great, thank you.
But this is an
Can
issue we'd sort of want to decide tonight in this first volley of the agreement. So if you want to put something in there, let's kind of talk about what that might be.
You want to do that in executive session?
Yeah, I would
or-
like to do that. If you'll read number 11 in our agenda, we are going into executive session later tonight.
Tremendous.
Thank you. My next question is on page 14 in F. It says that the new RSU shall pay RSU 10. Wait a minute, I lost my place.
Okay, where are we?
Page 14, F,
Yellow.
the yellow highlighted section.
The yellow highlighted.
Well, it's dark gray.
I know. Summer salaries, yes.
Yes. Shall pay RSU 10 the withdrawing municipality's share of such summer salaries, benefits, and payroll taxes based on RSU 10's 2026-27 cost sharing formula. How do we know what is our share?
The additional local funds percentage?
Okay.
Have you come up with a number for that yet, or has Connie? Or you don't know.
So looking at the budget appropriations. Yeah, I'm not sure right off the bat whether you even have a different mechanism of splitting additional local funds as compared to regular cost share.
Okay.
So I can't answer that right off the bat.
Okay. Thank you.
Top of page 15, you'll just want to change the date. It's not a 2016 election.
Nope, it's not.
Yeah. 2026.
Oh, is it November 8th? We have that somewhere else.
I was gonna say, I thought it was November 3rd.
It's November 3rd.
Oh, right, that's right. thought I saw it somewhere in this.
November 8th, you say?
It's the 3rd, right?
Somebody got a calendar handy?
I do.
Jesse's going to tell us in a minute.
November 3rd.
Yeah, it is the 3rd.
I feel like I've seen that somewhere here.
I think everything else that I've read looks pretty straightforward. What about you, Kristen? Anybody else have any other questions?
To answer your question, I'm assuming based on the way the appropriations are set up that you do pay the same amount towards additional local funds as you do towards regular cost sharing. So collectively, that's 31% for the 3 communities.
Thank you.
I'm so confused about that whole thing. Because when you have the ED 279 on the bottom, it shows you it's a mill rate that you times by the valuation of the town, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you call cost sharing?
Well, this is really about apportionment. So you have your total school budget within the cost centers. And again, I can't guarantee this, but some reorganization plans have a different way that those costs are shared as between the cost centers and the additional local funds. And so the cost centers and how those are split up, that's done under the state formula. The additional local funds, you can have a different mechanism under your reorganization plan by which those are apportioned. So the ED 279 is just giving you the state valuation, which is mill rate times valuation.
Okay, so let me clarify this so I don't get it confused again. So that amount that they times by the mill rate is the amount that the state says we have to raise in order to get what we get from the ED 279.
Exactly. And it dictates what town pays what towards it.
Right. And then you have additional local.
Correct. And that under the RSU agreement is allowed to be different than how the state apportions, but may not be.
It is though. I think it's
Okay.
75.
Does someone have the RSU 10 reorganization plan handy? I think I may have it in my records, but not coming upon it easily.
I'll look.
The RSU 10 one, you mean the one from,
The one we have to submit, the reorganization plan, right?
No, the old one from when the RSU was first formed.
back in 2008?
Oh, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 75-25.
DOA used to have a wonderful website where they had all the reorganization plans linked, and I have not been able to find it.
Deb, it's Cameron. It is a 75-25, and if you look on the RSU's website for last year, you can see the apportionment based off that formula.
So you're saying that the 3 towns, when you came into the RSU, paid 25%, and that's stayed static?
No, they look at 75% of our valuation and 25% of our pupil count. So every year that adjusts based off of the number of students that are enrolled and what our valuation is.
Right.
And that's just pertains to the additional local.
Correct. That's my interpretation.
Mine too.
Well, it's obviously very important to find out and know for sure, since it dictates so much of what your cost sharing responsibilities are under this. So I'll see if I can get a fix on that.
And will you find out, please, Kristen, if it has to stay 75-25?
It doesn't.
It doesn't?
No,
Or we can change
choose
it?
anything we want when in our reorganization plan. Some people use 90% valuation, 10% students, anywhere in that.
So we could change it like to 60-40 or 50-50 if we decide that that's what's in the best interest of our communities.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Which balances it out to make it equitable.
Thank you. Anybody else have any other questions on the withdrawal agreement?
No.
Okay. Let's move on to old business. Update on surveys. Cam, you're up.
There hasn't been any more movement on that. You're sitting right around 175, 173, which is where you've been for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I haven't received any more paper copies, so.
Okay, thank you.
The
Cameron, do you have
withdrawal
that broken
committee's
down?
email has access to those results, so the 3 chairs, I believe, have access. They should be able to see that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Everybody has a copy of the trifold update. I think the front is fixed so that we can fold them, I think. And then you can read the amended answers to the back. And if you like this and approve this tonight, we can send it to the press, whatever that happens to be. Maybe each town office can print off 100 copies, or we can make it more equitable in some way so that one town isn't burdened with using all of their paper allocation. Yep, well, almost. We can change anything we want on it.
I would like to make a motion to accept the trifold as presented tonight.
You waiting for a second? I'll second it.
Oh, I got a second, all in favor? I was waiting for discussion, I should have said that. Okay, it's all good. Now, my next question is, how do we allocate these being printed? Should we ask each town office to print a certain amount?
Yeah.
And that doesn't just fall to one? Does 100 copies work for each town? Because we can put some at the elementary school, some at Tilton's, some at each town office, some at the high school.
Are we going to keep it like this, or are we going to actually trifold it?
We're going to try fold it.
And who's going to be responsible for that?
I don't know.
I'm just asking.
I didn't think about that.
So,
Probably I would have done it. I don't know. Anybody who wants to can have fun folding paper. How's that? 100 isn't that many to do.
You can't have me do this job.
Right. Okay.
Or it's like left-handed. It's left-handed. That's what.
I'd like to.
Can we?
It is left-handed.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so.
Sorry, I'm left-handed.
I've never seen a left-handed brochure, so like, what in the world is going on?
I'm guilty. I'm left-handed. What can I tell you? It just worked for me, so.
That's fine, now that I understand it.
All right, there you go.
It doesn't make it wrong, just
well,
like
she
being
also uses a left-handed
Just
keyboard.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Brian.
I would say that we should probably have this discussion because I don't know who printed up these 12 pages because I had to have a paper copy. But there should be costs. I'm sure there's costs associated to every town.
Right.
And it should be coming out of the budget. I don't know how we do it.
That's a good idea. I don't.
It has to be charged up to the withdrawal committee somehow,
Okay.
in my opinion.
If
I
those
agree.
are designated legal fees,
No, they're not.
Bless
That is
you.
not how
But that's
the
not,
person's worried.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't worried. It just said any.
okay.
Maybe each town contributes a ream or two of paper to Chad.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's whatever.
Well, that's it.
However the town wants to spend the money,
All right,
so.
bless you.
I mean,
Well, who did this? Cameron?
Cam.
Yes.
Right. Do we want to?
And we're meeting here every week.
We are.
And we're using,
Right.
well, every other week, and we're using his paper, I don't know.
Right.
I
Well,
don't
Nice
know how
light
much
and
it's
heat.
costing, but I don't think
Right.
it should be.
I mean, maybe Cameron could just create a proposal and submit it,
Okay,
and then we just either approve or whatever.
Right, how much he thinks it's gonna cost
Right.
us for the paperwork.
okay, I like that idea.
6 months.
I need a motion.
Somebody word that?
Are we make a motion to ask Cameron from the town of Buckfield to,
Submit a bill for his time and paper and ink,
okay,
and I second that. All in favor? Okay, thank you for that.
good job, Deb. Now that I know about left-handed,
There you go. Okay, I think I would like to jump out of order for a minute or 5 and ask Brian if you have something to,
Well, I just, it was interesting, Judy Bird brought me the copy of Dr. Brown's recommendation, and I've worked with her before, and, you know, in a professional way, and the thing that I was going over, she's done an excellent job. But you can pick and choose
yes,
the ones you want, and the reason I bring it up, her background and mine are quite different. She was superintendent of Augusta for a long time. She also followed me in Winthrop, and she's been superintendent in Auburn. But the reason I bring it up, those larger communities already had a business manager, already had curriculum people. But the lady behind us that was talking about Dixfield,
yes,
that's the route you're going to have to look at. And the route you're going to have to look at is the superintendent, possibly business manager, and let the principal do the curriculum work in the school. And looking at that, you're going to have more of a reasonable budget to work with. And I think you're very capable of creating a path for a school board to go. They're going to have unique problems anyway, but you can lay that framework out with the information you have now. I really think you can. It's a lot of work, but I think you can do it. And you do have to look at examples like it, you know. And it's an interesting piece of history because, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, I was here on the committee to withdraw, and they kind of voted overwhelmingly they would not. But the town manager here at the time was originally, grew up in Mexico, Rumford. And I said to the committee, Dixfield's going to pull out of this first. And why was there too close? You know, too many close issues. And sure enough, that's what they did. The other ties I had, then I talked to her. My son was an industrial arts teacher there for 30 plus years. And my grandchildren graduated from the school. So we know the town and know the community. And this community can run the 3 schools as SAD 39 did years ago. It can happen, it can work. You can look at a part-time special ed director. But you can look, and I said pick and choose. And the other thing, Judy asked me, where was our office? And I said, interesting, but it was right behind this wall. And I said, I saw your boy playing basketball, and you always scored. And when our students went to the tournament, they won Class D championship. But the kids worked outside. You know, they were high school kids that learned in this community to live outside.
sure.
I think there are tremendous changes taking place, but you can still manage it. It's still there, that value system is still there.
Thank you, Brian.
We want to see if anybody online has anything.
Yeah.
Or anyone else want to speak before we?
I'm sure Judy does. Is that you waving, Miss Judy?
Yes. Okay, again, are we sure it's an are we sure it's an RSU or not some other AOS? I
We're
just,
pretty sure we're at RSU.
okay, okay.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on. Next on the list is the recommendations by Connie. Is that something that we want to go through tonight, or do we want to postpone that?
I think that's gonna be a big discussion.
I do too.
I didn't find out of the options that were given, anything that fits, like, I couldn't say, I take option one.
Oh, I see.
I think that.
Like,
it's
kind of
a
like Brian
good-
said.
It's a good start, but I think that we could move things around a little bit.
I agree.
And some of it was confusing as far as, there were parts where it said, for example, I suppose I could go read it, but it says technology director. And then there was technology staff, but what we were focusing was on central office because the technology staff is over here.
I understand that, yeah. Yeah, that makes
So I kind
sense.
of got a little messed up with that type of thing.
I did too, and I also thought that when they talked about special ed and they talked about transportation, or she talked about transportation, that we could pick and choose from each one of those to
Right.
create what I wanted, but I thought the initial one was,
Like, if you look at option one,
yes.
find it. This one is it. Let's go just quickly, I guess. Maybe you guys can explain where I'm going wrong here, but. In the school board scenario,
Yeah,
she only has 6 people, and then I think the state has a minimum that you pay $10 per meeting. And to me, that, for 6 directors, that $7,200 seemed a little high. And
right,
I would
right.
work on that. As far as legal fees, I don't know, but was it option 1? And it was superintendent.
Combined with curriculum coordinator.
coordinator.
Right.
And then there was a curriculum coordinator, $34,000 on top of that. And I was like, what is that?
Right.
Because full-time superintendent curriculum coordinator, $145,000, and then curriculum coordinator, $34,000.
So she explained that at her last meeting. She said that these were things that were in the budget, that she didn't have concrete answers as to why, but they were in the budget, so she put them in.
22, 23,
Yes, I
24
thought that,
were were from RSU
I
10.
thought that these were supposed to be options for us, and why would it pertain to RSU 10's budget?
I think these are her recommendations based off of what she felt and where she was unsure about those items. She put those in there just to be safe. I do think that when we go through this, it is going to be a lot of what I call a la
Yes.
carte.
Right.
Yes, I agree.
And
Right.
I think it's good for everybody to be thinking about it, coming up with their own ideas, what they like to see, what they think would work and not work. And I think it would be definitely,
Something to table?
a
Yeah.
conversation for another
I
day.
move that we table it, and maybe we ask Brian to be a special guest at that meeting on the 21st, if you happen to be available.
What the question, speak up a little bit.
I said we're gonna table that topic, and if there's a chance you can be here on the 21st, I think you bring some good value to that, what you were talking about earlier.
The superintendent has to face the public and discuss the budget for the following year.
Yeah.
They have to. Whether they're curriculum coordinator or they do other roles,
I know,
that's the job they have to do.
I think what we're trying to get from you, if you come when we discuss this, is what you think we would need.
Right.
And they can have a budget person that's made a lay person that can do a lot of that work.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying that's the job they have to do. And it's every year, and so curriculum coordinator, the principals are leaders of instruction. So if they're leaders of instruction, why not put the curriculum onto them?
Right.
Look at that, you have two principals, you don't have 5 or 6 or 7 to coordinate.
Right.
It seems to me that's an easy.
Well, we're gonna talk more in depth about that on the 21st of this month, so if you can be here, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right.
You'll be our special guest on the 21st.
All right. The 20.
We're going to Lubec.
But really, there's 3 things that I see when I'm reading this and talked to you last time. Was got to the school board, but I forgot that one. Maybe I wanted not forget them, but I did. And then you got to have an interim superintendent, coordinator type thing, and then you got to have a budget.
Yep.
When you have that, you got to go before the community and discuss that with them. And as this lady from Dixfield said, and those kind of mistakes that Dixfield made, they're probably going to happen. But if you got all that information, it would be something different.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I don't
something
see
It's going to be a different mistake.
$100,000, $200,000 in debt because you took a different direction.
Right.
I think those things can be resolved, and other people looking at them can resolve them.
Thank you.
But we were always a part of Region 11.
Yes. Yes.
So the location was always part.
Yes.
We did that, and our children, I went down for a couple of health issues, and 2 of the young ladies, one nurse, another one nurse, practitioner, all graduated from Region 11.
Right. Right.
But
I would like to just talk a little bit about the school board portion of this. If we could just quickly think about some things and then come back to for a decision next time. But I've been thinking on this for a little bit of time about what we would want that school board to look like. And I just, in talking with various people from Sumner, I know there is at one point in time when we were talking about 9 or 10 total board members with 3 from Sumner, 3 from Hartford, and 4 from Buckfield. But I genuinely don't believe that we would be able to fill 3 positions for Sumner as a school board designation.
I'm concerned about that from Hartford as well.
So maybe we should talk to our select boards and just maybe see what the consensus might be for our individual towns, since we were talking about representation. So I just, I don't know if you have more, if you have 3 board members for Sumner, you can only fill 2, and your voting is weighted, then your representation is going to get
No,
skewed.
it does not. I thought I explained this the last time.
I thought
That
you did
portion
too.
of that person's empty seat does not get counted. You know what I'm saying?
So if it's 73, then the 73 is just off the total.
Right.
So it's not of the.
Thank you.
So if we can't fill 3 seats,
Right. It's not, nobody's outweighing you.
so you don't lose a percentage because only 2 people would be
No.
in that seat.
So instead out of 1,000, it would be out of 9.3 or whatever.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if we had 73, if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, if say Sumner's weight was 73.
Like that person
then
was
it
worth
the
73
total wouldn't be
points.
1,000 anymore, it would be out of the 923 or whatever.
Okay.
So the 2 people that are on the seats, their weight will still carry
Stay the
the same
same.
amount.
Same
Okay.
amount.
I'm understanding what you're saying.
I
Yeah.
still think it might be a good idea to take it back to our select boards and just have a conversation. What do you think? Because I mean, Sumner remained open for a while.
And I don't,
personally think that if we do withdraw, there'll be renewed.
I absolutely, that's what my point was, there's gonna be renewed interest.
Also, the other thing too is maybe, down the road, we can also think about
It's coming around.
what disqualifies someone to be on the school board, right? So can a teacher be on the school board,
No.
right? I mean, these are things that we would have to discuss and find that out, right? Would someone that works for the school be allowed on the school board or not, right? I'm just saying, because when it comes time to actually,
And this law, this state law
Right.
now.
so, but the public doesn't know that. So when it comes time to pick how many people are on the school board or whatever, I think that we should have like a single piece of paper or something that we post or whatever that says these people are not allowed to be voted on for a school board position.
Okay.
I suppose. Yeah, I think there would be renewed interest, and 6 will not cut it. I don't think you can have a school board with 6 people, 2 members from each town. Just too much work.
4, 3, 7, 8, 9.
He brought in a proposal of 4 for Buckfield, Hartford 2 for Sumner,
Yeah,
totaling
that
9.
might be, that might be, right. Does he have like the new counts of how many students and stuff? Maybe he does, but yeah, I mean.
I do for students, if you want to know.
Okay.
I think that we need to
Yeah, we need to move on.
move on.
Yes, we do.
I think our lawyer is still waiting.
Yes.
Yes, she is. Okay.
So Nick, you moved to table. Did we get a second?
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor? Okay.
Probably in the sign that's what our main focus is.
At the next meeting,
Yes.
absolutely. Yep.
Okay, old business. Late arrival Wednesdays are scheduled for May 13th and May 20th at the elementary school and the high school. I sent you all an email about which is which.
13th is the night.
The 13th is at the high school, 20th is at the elementary school. We're going to be there at 7:30. Whoever can join me, that would be lovely. Okay. Anybody have any other business? Okay. Under objectives for the next meeting, I would like to remind everybody that we're going to go through Connie's suggestions. The next meeting is the 21st of May, and yeah, I'm looking at the old one.
Oh.
The 21st of May at the Buckfield Town Office, and Hartford is the chair. Okay, any other comments? Any other public comments?
I was just wondering, because I know that you mentioned Brian can be the next meeting to review Dr. Brown's recommendations. Was there any planning on extending that same ask to
I was just wondering if the committee was considering extending the same ask from Mr. Brown to any of like the, I guess the, I don't know, executive staff of the current schools to see what their thoughts are on what is necessary and what isn't based on their experience, like the higher ups at the school or teachers too. But.
We're going to have Connie here as well, our educational consultant, helping guide that.
Yeah.
And being that he's worked in the Buckfield, that's one aspect that I was thinking about.
when did you work in Buckfield?
Superintendent, way back.
Before the consolidation.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
But
I just was wondering, because the teachers are currently at the school, so that, I guess, this is my audience.
Yes, Judy?
You know, this is just an aside, but speaking of local control or local input, we really didn't have any input in whether the 6th grade would be moved to the high school. I know some people are not very happy about that. We had no power to do anything. And the other thing is we've had 3 buildings, extra buildings dumped on our school, high school for a long time. And we didn't move them there. Just
Right,
wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Judy. Okay, if there are no other comments, then we're going to move to executive session. So I need a motion.
Oh, yeah. So pursuant to 1 MRSA Section 405(6)E for the purposes of consulting with legal counsel.
Yes. All in favor?
You guys are not hang tight, I'll get you into
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys.
have a good night.
this is the last thing, so I don't know. I mean, you can just close out of the other people that are in the meeting, Cameron. Because there's nothing else after.
We are gonna need to come back into regular session to approve the agreement.
Yes.
Gotcha.
If you take any action, it has to be outside.
Gotcha.
Yes.
You're recommending that we
So start talking.
Right, you guys should be all set.
Okay.
Thank you.
I move that we authorize Kristen to provide this preliminary withdrawal agreement as approved by the committee tonight to RSU 10. How'd I do?
I'll second it.
Yeah.
All in favor? How'd we do?
Great.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you all.